Welcome back to Glamour Unfiltered, your celebrity franchise where we get to the heart of some of the issues that mean the most to some of the world's most inspiring celebrities. And today, we are joined by the new queen of Netflix and Hollywood's new beauty star, Lucy Boynton.
Thank you so much. What an intro.
I mean, The Politician is amazing. Coming to Netflix at the end of September. Set your diaries.
Gotta help Peyton.
We hate Peyton way more than you do.
Think I should kill him?
What?
It really deals with some really amazing issues. So it deals with depression, suicide, it deals with gender, it deals with sexuality, it deals with all these amazing things that we are all going through as like young people today. What kind of relationship have you had with your own mental health, would you say?
I think it's an interesting thing that has only really started to be a conversation later in my life. I don't really remember at high school it being much of a topic of conversation. I know that we could go to the school nurses to discuss anything if we wanted to, but it wasn't a thing that was done ever. And I imagine now, I don't know, I guess with social media where it's become much more common to talk about it openly and share.
Because how do you look after it in that sense? Like, what do you do to check in on yourself?
Stay away from social media.
Yeah.
That one is a killer.
That's a killer.
And I know everyone says it, and then it hits you and it's like, oh, right, that's why everyone says it. It's bad.
Because I also feel like with the social media thing, it's just like, hun, if it's not cute, put it on mute, right? Like, you do what I mean? Like, leave it out. Like, if it's not working for you, it's not working for you.
And I think, I mean, it's hard. It's always that conversation of like, it has so many pros and cons. But I think, as soon as it starts to feel negative, it's a hard thing to put away, I think, for a lot of people, because that's where they find their community as well.
What's your personal journey been like with finding your own voice?
I think I find it easy to lean into being more shy and kind of apologetic for myself, and that's where Astrid came in very handy, because she's so unapologetic and is so happy for her opinion to be heard and to take up space that I would walk away from playing her for a week and my voice would be a little bit louder and I would take up a bit more space and feel a bit more confident and realize how much I had not been doing that in my own time. What
was it like going back to school years to film this? Obviously, our schooling system in the UK is wildly different to this. Slightly different. But what was it like putting yourself back in that position for you?
I think it made the job more interesting and somewhat easier, because I think if you're trying to say something about the period you are currently in, it's harder to have any perspective, whereas being on the outside of that, it was really interesting to go back, and I think you can go back with a better insight, and then you get to walk away at the end of the day and not be in high school anymore, and that's a real relief.
That's a real relief. What was it like? What was high school like for you?
A really good education, really interesting classes and teachers, but it was an all-girls school, so it was cliquey as hell.
Yeah.
And that's given me a thicker skin, I think. So that's good.
Astrid is obviously kind of like the popular gal around town.
Yeah.
What was your own relationship with popularity when you were growing up?
I think it's such a stressful thing for as long as you put any weight on it. And you're always aware, especially in an all-girls school, of a kind of hierarchy. And so I always remember being aware of who the popular girls were, and then kind of being okay with staying outside of that. I think this job helped me a lot as well, because I always had another world to go to. So school was never everything for me. And so I guess that's how I kind of survived it, because it's like, this isn't the biggest thing in the world, and I can walk away and feel sane elsewhere and know that this is like on a smaller scale.
Because also you've been working since you were 12 years old, right? Like, you've been working 9 to 5 for a while, for some time. Because I think a lot of people will look at this and be like, oh my God, you've had the most amazing year, and you kind of like burst out of nowhere and ding, 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 ding.
10 years later.
10 years later.
Finally here.
In that time, because I guess there must be so many ups and downs.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the down you've learnt the most from, and the up you've learnt the most from?
When I was 14, I'd been working somewhat steadily for a few years, which is a crazy thing to say as a 14-year-old. But then I had to take a break to do GCSEs and do my exams and everything, and I didn't really mind at the time. I was kind of excited to go back to school and not miss out on all my friends' birthdays and stuff. And then I kind of thought I could pick up where I left off when I started again, and it was a shock to realize I couldn't. I was in obviously a very different casting bracket when I went back. I was like 17, 18. I got to have my awkward phase off camera though, which is right? Those braces did not suit me. But I think I learned a lot from that period because it forced me to really question why I needed it, whether I did need it, and how hard I had to work for it, and if that was worth it. And it took a few years of a hell of a lot of rejection. I mean, doing auditions several times a week for years and not getting anything, and just like powering through that and finding inspiration or excitement in the auditions I was doing and that being enough.
So rejection can actually teach you so much, right?
Hell yes.
What do you think it's taught you?
That it's okay, and it's not a reflection always of you, especially in work, especially in this job. If everything just falls into your lap, you don't learn how to work hard, you don't learn any kind of work ethic.
But I love that thing you said, where you said at school you felt like you were taught and it was assumed that you would have male bosses, that women were taught they were going to have male bosses.
But it's just that thing that you instill in young women at a young age of like, don't wear a short skirt because it's uncomfortable for the male teachers. You can't wear bare shoulders because it's uncomfortable for men and male teachers, and what will the boys' school think of you and stuff, rather than like, how do you want to feel, how do you want to present as a human being, as a woman.
Are you still shocked by any anti-feminist things? What's been something that's shocked you recently, would you say, and you've been like, whoa, I can't believe this is still a conversation?
Still have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I was on a panel with Britt Marling at Venice Film Festival recently, and she was saying, like, as a person who is now a creator, a writer, a director, she has been in the room where they discuss representation and the need to get more women in the room. And she was saying that it's ridiculous. It's spoken about as if it's this very difficult thing to hire more women, and it's just, how can we possibly do it? She's like, it's just not that hard. There is space. Just do it. We've watched so many men's stories for so long. The idea that the only stories women have to tell are in terms of men, or as the wife or girlfriend, or the repercussions of a man's narrative, is baffling.
Do you feel more empowered than ever before, sat here today?
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. And I mean, while we were filming this, I was doing promotion for Bohemian Rhapsody, and we were talking so consistently about the lessons that Freddie would talk about in terms of identity and what he hoped to inspire in people. And then I'd go to work on this and realize that that was happening, that the things that we were representing in this show were the things that he was unable to at the time, but was hoping that kind of would cause those repercussions to be able to do that. So it was really amazing to preach it in the day and then actually act on it in the night.
Yeah, but like you've been saying, you've gone through your own confidence issues at various different times in your life. You come out the other side, you're the empowered person sat before us today, about to slay it again on this Netflix show. What advice would you give to someone who is possibly out there right now watching this, who's struggling with their own confidence?
Surround yourself by intellectually stimulating people, by people who make you feel good and who you can make feel good. It's such a waste of time to try and conform in any way and like be a sheep in all of that. And I know that's so easy to say, not being in an all-girls school anymore, but I wish I hadn't wasted so much time trying to identify by other people's standards and fit in and conform to that.
What kind of standards do you feel like you were trying to fit into?
What was cool and the rate with which the speed at which people were growing up. I think I was always very young, and some of the girls in my year I think were growing up much faster, and you feel, I think at a younger age being different isn't good. Like it worries you. And you only realize when it's too late, when you're out of it, that it was actually such a great thing, and it's probably the thing that fuels you in a different way that will get you where you're going.
But then the comparison culture is there day in, day out in front of our eyes, and it's also then on social media as well.
I don't know how you step away from it, but step away from it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it's like I didn't have to grow up with all of that. You could go home, and if someone wanted to like pick a fight with you, they'd have to call your home phone and go through your mom first. Whereas now it's all just like right here, and these things that become our worlds. But be that cool person without social media.
Be that cool person and watch The Politician.
Do that too.
And that will also empower you as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much, babe. You've been amazing.
Thank you so much.
I'm feeling even more empowered from sitting here with you.
I know, right? It's all that Astrid energy.
Oh, it's that Astrid.
A bit of Astrid energy.
Yeah, be more Astrid.
Yeah. Don't tiptoe around people.
Yeah.
Don't tiptoe around things.
For more empowering videos like this, which are actually empowering people as Lucy Boynton, Exhibit A, make sure you subscribe to the Glamour UK channels now, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of Glamour Unfiltered with me, Josh Smith.